Not just one, but many. And this is going to be, we're out on the road for a long time. And, when I say many, we're not looking ahead and beyond the one that we have right in front of us. But when we set up the schedule, we knew that all of these would be great opportunities, but great challenges. And, to go play an ACC school on their home floor and one of the upper ACC schools. Great team, unbelievable coach, and that's going to be a huge challenge right out of the gate.
How did you weigh adding that to the front end of this tournament? With the return game next year versus putting too much on these guys on this trip.
Well, I think it's a lot better to do this than to make 2 trips to the East Coast. Trips to the East Coast affect a West Coast team, and we've studied all that, and so but you can't say no to a home and home with an ACC school, and our fans, I think, are going to be excited. They always like it when we get football schools to come here, but you couldn't say no to it. Calendar-wise, it worked out great, and it's a good time of year. We're going to be in nice weather, and the excitement of being in a big-time football atmosphere. We'll be practicing while Carolina's playing Clemson across the parking lot. I assume it's a park. I haven't been there, but so I'm sure we'll have to deal with a little traffic and all that stuff. But there'll be a buzz in the air, and it's exciting for our guys.
How cool are trips like this? I mean, this is where you're going to find out, obviously, a lot about your team.
Yeah, and you do. You're finding out a lot in good ways, bad ways, all those things. But it's not an end all. These are great opportunities, and the thing about college basketball, you look at some Michigan State's 1 and 2 right now. Look who they played, and they played good teams already. Duke's played good teams already, and so it's not an end all if you could lose one now, but these wins can be, resume builders, and they pay dividends all the way to the NCAA tournament. So you have to get these on your schedule, and it's better than, that's why when people talk about preseasons, they go, well, this team's 12-0, they're good. It all depends on who you play, and sure, you got to go out and still win them, but some teams play 12 straight home games, and they're all guarantee games, and so how do you know, and how do they test themselves, and how do they build a resume for the NCAA tournament?
How do you think the Boise State basketball brand has grown since you've been here? Because you probably used to go out to a game like this, and I don't know, it feels like it probably has a different approach or a different meaning from when you go out, and the recognition you guys get now being back-to-back NCAA tournament teams going to play Clemson. Like, it's just not another game for them. It's probably one they got to show up for.
Well, I don't think the way I've viewed our brand and the way I've approached it has changed at all. It's just the outside world, and we've earned respect, and our programs earned respect, so that's big. And it's never happened in the history of the school for us to get a home and home with an ACC team, and so that's growth, and that's what you always want, and those kind of things. And it's a great game for both of us. It really is, and I think Brad's definitely has an NCAA tournament team this year. They are a really good team. They got shooting, they got size, they got rebounding. They're so well coached, and they're a veteran team. They're going to have a great year.
Greatest challenge facing them?
Well, with Bob, I always go to the boards. I think they're a real physical team, and I think they attack the glass pretty hard, and with a physical presence. They don't just run to the ball. They're going to go through your body some if you're not physical, and I think that presents a huge challenge, because you can do all the other things, defend everything great, but if you can't rebound against a team like this, you got no chance.
With so many games in such a short amount of time coming up here too, how will your depth on your bench help throughout all this? And I'm assuming, like, maybe at point in times last year, you might have been a little more apprehensive to take a guy off and throw him in the fire, and that might not be as much the case this year.
Well, you have to. And you look at the tournament, even when we didn't have much depth, I had to go there a lot to get us through the 3 games in 4 days, and now you add another game on this trip. This is our depth is going to be tested, and it's going to be needed, and so we have had a great week of practice. We got to get better at a lot of stuff still, and it's I told the guys after that San Francisco win, it's the team that gets a lot better that's going to be there in where they want to be in the end, not the team that won on November 11th. That doesn't, it's great, but we gotta get a lot better.
I know you mentioned it's not the end all be all the record. You're obviously on this trip. I mean, you have a chance to play like 4 quad 1 games or something
Right.
on this trip. I mean, I guess to start with Sunday's game, I guess to set the tone for the trip and also just get you off on the right foot, I guess, how big is Sunday's game from that aspect? With
Well,
knowing what's ahead the rest of the trip.
Number one, it's a true road game. And again, like I said, not many people have played true road games in a ACC environment. So that will be a great growing up process for our team and great experience for our team. So, we have to be able to travel with the right mindset to do all those things that you have to do to be able to compete on the road. And so those are great tests, and let alone the team that we're going to face on the court. So great opportunity, and our guys are excited to do it. It's this is the greatest time of year. The tournaments are all starting, and there's basketball all day long, and you get an excitement. So you want to be playing in big time games. You don't, that's why these guys came here, and that's what they get in the next, going forward.
To have, the veterans you have, and even guys like Cam and Omar that have played in big time environments and stuff, and Omar playing, in Big East and stuff. I mean, how much for a first road game? Sure, there's going to be challenges, but to have the guys you have that have the Max and Tyson and Buzo playing all the Big 12 environments and going through Mountain West last year. I mean, how ready, I guess, are they for the
Yeah, they're as for a team that hasn't done it. Plus, I'll tell you what was cool was playing up in Canada, where it was in front of fans, and you just got a little of that feel. It's not the the environments maybe that the colleges here have, but it was great. There was a lot of people there. There was hecklers, and I think those things help, and the more experience you get at those help. It does. I think it's a big bonus, and that's the value of having veterans. They've been there, done that before, so that when I'm talking about those kind of things, they're like, yeah, I know what he's talking about, where some of the freshmen are, they get a little wide-eyed in those situations once in a while.
I didn't know that if Buzo had another big step in him, but it seems like he's like just on the cusp of making like another big jump in his game.
No doubt, and we've seen that in practice. We've seen, I've walked out of practice some days and went, holy cow, what, this kid. You got to remember he's only a junior too, so he's just such a worker, such a great kid, such a consistent day to day. Just, I have to hold him back. I mean, we had a long practice the other day, and maybe one of our most, where we've ran the most, all that, and I noticed he didn't eat his, meal after practice and get his protein, and I said, what are you doing? He goes, I'm going to run. I'm like, no, you're not. It's a long season, Buzo, and he's just, when you get those guys that are obsessive with work, and that's what makes him great, but you also got to put some guardrails up, because he'll just grind himself into a pulp, I think, if left to his devices.
Is it true too that he almost missed a practice because he was working out at Axiom?
Yeah, I mean, just he's always working out, and he's obsessed. And like I said, that there's two sides to that coin, and we're getting the great side, but we got to help him manage that and help him know that what he's doing is enough, and what we're doing out here is enough. And it is a long season, and but I'd rather have it that way than the other way.
He looks noticeable, especially in his lower half, like bigger. How much is that helping him as he tries to finish at the rim a little more this year too, just his size?
When he gets going downhill, he's a load. I mean, and he's worked on that, and his shot selection, he's worked on all those things, and it is. You look at him and Max and Tyson, and to have those three as your nucleus, you couldn't ask for more as a coach, and they're bringing everybody else along, and they're making others better, and that's the best thing about having those three as your three main veterans, is what great teammates they are too. That's where it starts.
What was the impetus behind Buzo wanting to all of a sudden become this dedicated to changing his body?
He's always been a dedicated guy. That's he's always been in the gym, always been a worker. That was his reputation in high school, and we know that because we know his high school coach. We recruited him out of high school. We followed, so we just knew that if he got if we were, able to put him in the right spot, put him in the right system, teach him the right way, because you got to, each kid's different, and they need different kinds of teaching, and to figure out what helps, each individual. That's the important, and one of the most important keys to a player's success. And I think it's been a perfect match here, and we, our coaches have done a great job with him. He's done a great job with them, and when you get a guy that's hungry and that works that well and is that coachable, and when you're coaching him the right way, it sky's the limit.
I got one more. And that's I don't know whether it's going to happen Saturday in the tournament. I just feel like at some point in time, RJ Keene's going to do something big for you. He's going to win you a game.
Yeah, and he's not alone there. There's a lot of guys on that bench that I can see it, and that's usually the difference. You go on the road and you lose a close one. Well, your bench wasn't quite good. And you look at some of the situations we were in last year. We had two crucial guys fouled out at the end of that Nevada game, and if you had a little more depth, who knows? But that's where the depth helps you, and that's what it has to do, and that's what I expect a bunch of those guys to be able to produce some big moments for us.